Good evening, this is Noor Bakhtar with Global Literary News. Tonight's true crime story takes us into a quiet village on the sunny morning of June 27th. We examine The Lottery, a short story by Shirley Jackson that reveals how tradition, conformity, and power can lead to shocking violence. A ritual, a community, a murder disguised as tradition. We now understand the story's deeper theme, in which dangerous behavior tied to tradition demonstrates how things can become extreme, even when no one questions it and it appears normal to them. Our main theme for tonight is, how can ordinary people commit horrific acts without question? The lottery starts with each family drawing a slip of paper from a black box. The slip with the black dot on it represents the chosen family. This then marks the second round of the lottery, where each member of the family must draw a slip where the family member with the marked slip is the one chosen. This year, Tessie Hutcherson was selected. She was then stoned to death by the entire village, including her family and even the children. Now we're going to begin with a few words from Bill Hutchinson, the former spouse of Tessie Hutchinson, to get some more insight on the case and the events that took place. So Bill, do you have any more thoughts on the lottery system after the death of your wife? There's not much I can say about it, of course. I'm devastated that she's gone, and I still love her very much. But this process is simply tradition, which is something we cannot stray away from. Do you think the lottery system is unfair as your wife protested? Should the rules be reconsidered? I wouldn't necessarily say it's unfair. I think everyone has an equal chance. This is just the way that it's always been and how things work in the village. Thank you, Bill. This is Global Literary News reporting back from Bill's interview. From a psychological perspective, this case demonstrates how desensitization and tradition can influence the behavior of people within a community. The lottery is a ritual that has been done every previous year, with villagers participating in it for generations. Because of this ongoing ritual, it is not seen as violent or immoral, and instead seen simply as following an act of tradition. This also reflects the idea of conformity, where no one questions the ideas and morals behind the lottery system. Even if someone does question it, they're too scared to speak up about it, since they don't want to stand out against the others. We can see these two ideas through Tessie's reaction, where she only protested against the lottery when she was the victim chosen. This suggests that people are more likely to speak out against injustice when it directly impacts them. Bill's reaction also reflects the psychological perspective. Instead of defending his wife, he encouraged her to be a good sport and follow through with the ritual. His interview also shows how social pressure in conforming to tradition overrides his feelings towards his wife. For this next segment, we're interviewing Mr. Summers, someone who was seen as the facilitator of the lottery. So, Mr. Summers, what exactly was your role in the lottery? Well, in every lottery, there always has to be someone who makes sure things run smoothly. My role was to prepare the slips and handle the box while calling up each family to participate. What do you think about the lottery system? Does it seem unfair or unnecessary to you? No, it doesn't seem unfair or unnecessary. I believe the lottery is tradition, and simply something that has to be done. I don't see any reason to change tradition. Thank you, Mr. Summers. This is Global Literary News reporting back from Mr. Summers' interview. From a Marxist perspective, the lottery shows how individuals within a community are controlled by objects of power, as well as the divide between people in positions of power and the general population of a community. The people of the village blindly follow the lottery system without question, even though it seems immoral. This demonstrates how dominant objects in a society can normalize harmful traditions by forcing people to conform to them. Mr. Summers is a key character that demonstrates the Marxist perspective. Even though he seems like he has authority within the lottery, he does not question the ritual and instead encourages it. This shows how power structures work. Those in authority keep the system going, and everyone else in the community does the same without question. For this final segment, we're going to ask a stranger on their reaction to the case. So, what were your initial thoughts on the lottery? It was honestly disturbing and very shocking to me. When I read the news on this case, I initially thought it was a harmless lottery. I still can't believe that a community would take part in a ritual like that. Did you have any final thoughts or conclusions on the lottery after finding out its true purpose? I think that it's a very immoral ritual that takes place. I still don't see the purpose of it, but overall, I think that it's unsettling how quickly violence can become normalized when nobody speaks out about it. Welcome back to Global Literary News, reporting back live from the final interview segment. From a reader response perspective, the lottery causes readers to have more emotional reactions as the story goes on. At first, the lottery seems normal, with the setting described as a sunny day filled with casual talk and laughter from the children collecting stones. As the story progresses, we see the true purpose of the lottery, which is not what was expected at the beginning. For this next segment, we've collected real evidence of artifacts from the lottery that took place. Our first piece of evidence is the black box itself. As we can see, the box is worn out and damaged. This piece of evidence acts as a metaphor for the lottery. It is still followed by the villagers, even if the tradition is not fully understood. This metaphor enhances the meaning of the story by showing how harmful and flawed some traditions are when people are not willing to change them. It also emphasizes the message of how society should evolve and change over time instead of following outdated practices that aren't appropriate today. Our second piece of evidence is the stones that the children collected before the lottery took place. As we can see, these stones are covered in blood as they were the same stones used for the stoning of Tessie Hutcherson. When the children were collecting the stones in the beginning, everything seemed normal and peaceful, just kids having fun. However, these stones foreshadowed the imminent stoning of Tessie Hutcherson. The act of foreshadowing in a story creates suspense, which can allow readers to sense something else may be happening later on in the story. The third piece of evidence we observed is the piece of paper with a black dot that Tessie Hutcherson received before her death. This piece of paper represents the lottery system as a whole. Calling the system a lottery is a demonstration of irony used in the story. Typically, a lottery represents winning money or a prize. However, in this case, it means the exact opposite. The use of irony makes the story more effective as it contrasts between the expectations and reality. By seeming like a harmless lottery at first, it makes the end result of Tessie's death even more shocking. The final piece of evidence we were able to collect was the three-legged stool used in the lottery. This stool is used to hold up the black box, and as we can see, is very fragile and missing a leg. The fragility of the stool acts as a symbol for the deeper meaning of the story and the moral and physical fragility of the lottery system. Even if the system seems stable, it lacks any sort of justification to why this ritual needs to take place. This symbolism enhances the message of the story by showing how a system may look strong, but in reality it's unstable and only continues because people refuse to protest against it. While we previously looked at the physical pieces of evidence, it's also important to turn to the elements that are not visibly collected. We're now going to look at the language and atmosphere of the scene found in the case transcript provided by police and witnesses. From our transcript, the evidence states, "On the day the lottery took place, it was a clear, sunny day with children playing and laughing, and there was casual talk between the neighbors of the community." At first glance, the imagery depicted makes it seem like a calm and friendly atmosphere. This contrasts against the violence that occurs later on following the lottery, as well as the violent ending of this case. The transcript also shows a gradual shift in tone, followed by the beginning of the case towards the end, which demonstrates how suspense is built. Before the lottery took place, the tone seemed cheerful and calm, since it was described by witnesses as a bright day filled with casual talk and laughter. As the case progresses, we see that the tone shifts to a dark and violent atmosphere, which reveals the true emotions people felt during the ritual and after Tessie Hutcherson's death. Witnesses' descriptions of the stoning are minimal, and villagers seem emotionally detached from the ritual. Describing the violence and public stoning of villagers in a casual way shows how much of an understatement it is to the people of the village. Within the village, the idea of the stoning does not carry much emotion or detail, which makes it seem less serious than it really is. This shows how normalized and accepted violence is within the community. This is Global Literary News reporting back live from the evidence segment. After further examining this case, the events occurring within the lottery also connect with past events, more specifically World War I. In the novel The Wars by Timothy Finley, soldiers of the First World War are forced to follow the commands from leaders. These actions include violence or simply acts that go against their morals. Another theme from the wars connects back to the main character, Robert Ross, where his emotions of guilt and trauma are drove by his decision to join the war. Similarly, in the lottery, the people of the village are driven by emotions of the fear of standing out. This causes them to not question and protest against the lottery and instead blindly follow orders. In the graphic novel Charlie's War by Pat Mills and Scott Goodall, the main character, Charlie, is influenced by the pressure and authority, causing him to participate in a war at such a young age. In the lottery, individuals are influenced by pressure and tradition, even young children who are forced to participate not only in the drawing system, but also the stoning act. During World War I, propaganda posters were used to influence people's thoughts on certain political standpoints. These posters encourage people to join in fun war, as well as contribute in any way they can. These posters evoked fear, guilt, and patriotism to help persuade the general public. In the lottery, forms of social propaganda, such as the saying, "Lottery in June, corn be heavy soon," act as a way to justify the ritual. These forms of propaganda were spread to scare the people to follow tradition, which makes it expected by the entire village. These connections demonstrate how the themes of tradition and conformity were prevalent throughout history, and even today, we're not immune to these ideas or any propaganda. To wrap up tonight's case, the lottery shows how dangerous traditions and conformity can become when no one questions them. Even though the village seems normal, these acts of violence are accepted simply because it's a yearly tradition and everybody participates in it. By thinking about our own actions and events in today's society, it raises the question, if the lottery or other unjustifiable murders were happening in our community, would we challenge it or simply follow the crowd? Thank you for tuning into Global Literary News. This has been Norbert reporting live on tonight's case. Stay tuned for more updates.